Hey guys, welcome to Two Line Slot Cars. We'll see if anybody jumps on. Happy Tuesday. As Garth said last week, Tuesdays with two lines, Speedway. So we'll see what happens with that. I apologize going on a little late tonight. I was wanting to go around 8, but I am an announcer for high school boys and girls soccer in Chillicothe. I've been doing it for about 12 years, and we had a tournament game tonight. And I thought it was going to go into overtime, but we scored late. Hey, Garth. How are things? How's the weather up there in Michigan, the great state of Michigan? Did you guys get any snow? I know Fort Wayne, Indiana got some snow last night. I was watching that on a webcam someplace. So welcome. Yeah, sorry about being a little late, but I was afraid that the soccer game was going to go into overtime. It was 1-1 with about 2.5 minutes left, and Chillicothe put a goal in the back of the net to win 2-1 and advance in the tournament. So I'm using a different software this week. So if I have any audio, video problems, guys, let me know in the chat. I appreciate that if you would. Hey, Dusty. Hey, TNT Motorsports, Complex, Big T, Arnold. That's a mouthful, man. How's it going your way? Wet and cold, but no snow. That's good. It cooled off on us today. We had a beautiful weekend. It was wonderful on Saturday and Sunday. But the last 2 days have been pretty cold. So near me in Chillicothe, is the Great Pumpkin Show in Circleville, Ohio. It started tonight. And so it's either beautiful weather or the weather is awful. There's kind of no in between. So, but I thought tonight we would kick things off. Hey, we got 8 people in. Great. Hit the thumbs up so people find out about the live stream. I thought tonight, Garth thought it'd be good to talk about people's layouts. Last week, we kind of touched on analog versus digital and the pros and cons, and we kind of rabbit-trailed a little all over the place, but it was good. It was a great conversation, so it was a lot of fun. Hey, Clint, welcome to the live stream. Yeah, good to have you, man. Just call you Tim. All right. Thanks, Tim. That's a little easier. So, yeah, I thought maybe tonight we would talk a little bit about people's layouts, what you like in the layout, since we've been talking about not mostly Carrera. I mean, I would say a lot of guys. Double Snake, yeah, man. Yeah, the real world is tough. It's a tough world out there. So anytime we can talk about slot cars, man. So my brother, you see him in the chat, Dusty, he came over on Sunday night and we got to race a little bit. And I was still not able to knock his little F1 Carrera car off the track record, but we extended the table just to talk about my layout, since the layout is kind of the subject of tonight. Again, I said I'm using a different. Hey, Rise, welcome, man. Welcome to the live chat. You are across the pond, right? You're in Australia. Is that correct? So I should be able to throw things up on. I think I should be able to throw the chats up on the screen. Well, I thought I had that figured out, but maybe I didn't. Set it, no. But my brother and I, we tackled and added 4 foot by 8 feet on the end of my table so that I can stretch out the front stretch, and we have a big sweeping turn on that end of the track. And so we added 4 feet to the table so that we can extend the track out a little bit, so the guys that their driving stations on the other end of the table have a chance of seeing the cars going around that turn, because before then, you are the champ. All right, Dusty. There you go. I figured out how to do it. So yeah, it added about 4 feet to the track, and it really changed the driving experience, I think. I mean, even though it was really just extending the straights, we're getting so much speed in the front straight that going into that high bank turn, we really have to drive it. Hey, Lineface, welcome in. Welcome. So, good afternoon. Okay, where are you at, Lionface, where it's afternoon? Because it's 9:15 p.m. in Chillicothe, Ohio. So, but welcome. So, Clint, we did not reset the lap records. So Dusty still has the lap record. I should grab my iPad so I could see. I think what is it, Dusty? 6.681, something like that. It's quick, but he ran a 6.991, I think, with the new layout, which is probably pretty equivalent, adding 4 feet to that. So I think last week we were talking about like what maybe Clint, you asked that, what was the average speed, like time, like in a race. I would say on this track now, and we're going to extend it a little further. We've got another room to add about another 4 feet to the existing layout size. Yeah, it added about 0.4 of a second to the lap time. But running a 7-second lap in a race might be kind of tough, especially if it's a busy race with 4, 5, 6 cars. I think that 7.5, 8-second laps are probably going to be pretty normal on a race night. I don't know, Dusty, what do you think? So in the chat, what are some of the things that you're planning to add to your layout? Is there anything that you've got coming up? Anybody adding check lanes like I did? Anybody extending their table? Anybody working on their layout? Rise, you're in Melbourne. Man, you're a long way. It's Wednesday afternoon there. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. So, Rise, do you own a track at home, or do you race at a club over there in Australia? I think slot car is pretty big there in Melbourne, right? The way Travis talks. So yeah, how many of you have a home track? All of you? Or any of you strictly club racers? And what are some of the things that you plan to do with your layouts? I'm still working on ours. Probably not so much a lot more track. I'm looking at things like, well, we added wireless, and we can only get one of the two wireless to work with all the other controllers. And somebody posted on one of the videos that I did a couple months ago about that he figured out how to get 2 wireless controllers to work with 4 wired controllers. So I want to sit down and run some tests and see if I can figure out what he did to get that to work, because that would be handy to be able to run 6 at a time using 2 of the wireless. Okay, Lionface, really enjoyed your video on check lanes. Really want them for mine. I think Duvall added one after watching my video, or he added 2, I think, to his track. I've been watching some of his live streams on Instagram, which is pretty cool. But you're analog when you put your track together this weekend, okay? I mean, there are times when I think we wish we had the ability to go analog, because we've been tinkering with other brands of cars outside of the Carrera brand, and it's been a lot of fun to. So Tim says, in the future, I plan to extend my 80-foot track to 150. Yeah. So how big of a layout will that be, Tim? Your table. Be curious, because I mean, I think with where I'm at at 8 foot wide by 24 feet long, we're probably tapping out and keeping the type of flow that we like at about 110 feet, somewhere in there. That'd be my guess. Rise, you race on a wooden track, race Wednesday nights, analog. Nice. So what classes do you run, Rise? I mean, do you have a car for every class that they run at the track? You know, Group C, and are there classes based on the style of car or brands? Because I'm always curious about that, what other clubs are doing. Garth, yours is a Carrera 26 by 4. Two lines, 250 feet length in 3 tiers. Yeah, you sent me pictures, Garth. Your layout's massive, man. It's really cool. Hey, John Mark. Welcome to the chat, or welcome to the live stream, dude. We missed you on Sunday racing on the track. We needed your little Porsche to knock Dusty off the top spot. So Tim, you have 5 4x8 tables. Nice. It's a big layout. That is a big layout. Yeah, the 4-foot extension on ours, I mean, 8 by 24 feet, that's a large table. And that's a lot of track. You know, we're over 100 feet, about a little over 30 meters. And I have one bridge, and then I've got a section that hangs out over another turn, barely. And so just got back from Dayton. Nice. Dusty not happening. Clint. Oh, Garth. Yeah. Clint, you would have seen his track on the worldwide chat. Garth is on that chat a lot. That's right. Yeah. You'll take over the record soon. So 124 scale. No magnet, vintage slot cars, Can-Ams, Pan American, all hand built. Nice. So yeah, I have a feeling that down the road we will get into hand building, custom building some slot cars, especially if I end up building a wooden track. I mean, I still have a gigantic attic in this old house that probably my wife would kill me, but I probably could build a pretty sizable wooden track up there. I just worry a little bit about the weight. It tends to cause the plaster to crack on the ceilings in the rooms below if you put too much weight and too much traffic up there. Yeah, Tim, we got into the tech slot conversation last week and the Omnibox, and man, the Omnibox is pricey. So maybe you can fill us in on the difference between the two. They kind of do the same thing, right? Or is one way better than the other? Maybe it's a power management thing that you, something like that. I would love the wood track. Yeah, I love Can-Am cars. I love the vintage stuff. It's my favorite. You know, my favorite cars are my GT40 and my NSR 908, my Porsche 908 30, or 903, and then my 917 Carrera. I love that time frame. Those are fun cars. Although, you know, I'm getting into the GT cars mainly because I can watch some of them on the IMSA races. My brother and I talk a lot about racing and watching the IMSA. So catching up with the GT cars, and that's been fun. So yeah, definitely, I would love it, and we'll have to try it one day. We have a track, a really nice wooden track in Columbus at Tom Thumb's. It's a hobby shop, and they have a real nice wooden track there. but I don't know. I would love to get one of the guys from the shop on the. They have no idea I exist on YouTube, I don't think, but I have talked to them about my channel, but I don't know how many races they sponsor. I don't know if they have club nights anymore. To me, it seemed like they were kind of over it. They did have like a big national race earlier in the year. At least that's what, maybe it was a regional race, and it's a nice wooden track. And then we have Cincy Slots is about 2 hours away, hour and 50 minutes away from me here in Chillicothe. And Cincy Slots has a really nice digital track, and then I think they can flip it over to analog and run analog races on it as well. Yeah, I hear a lot about, I'll throw it up here. I hear a lot about Mr. Tracks. That's a pretty nice facility. So that's where you race there in Melbourne. I'm trying to remember who released video from that. Maybe it was Travis. He may have released some video when he went to visit the track. Yeah, it looks pretty wild. Yep, Garth, that is southwest of Columbus. Have you ever been there? Yeah, it's right off of oh gosh, I'm forgetting the Frank Road, maybe. So Omni is a true analog. Tech slot is a chippy system, so you're still confined to 8 amps, or you'll burn your chips. Gotcha. Okay. Okay, so there's the difference in the money and the cost. All right, that's good to know. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate that information. I'm sure there's a lot of guys in the discussion that would be interested in what's going on with that. Have you ever posted the Omni's pretty new, right? Have you ever posted a video about explaining it? Okay. Fisher Road, that's right, not Frank Road. Fisher Road. Thanks, John Mark. Yeah, Garth, it's a pretty nice setup. I mean, the hobby shop's kind of flipped. They still have a lot of slot car stuff, but it's really a lot of RC stuff, and some RC planes and lots of parts. But they're big into the 1/24th scale, like the big winged cars, the Lexan bodies with the big Lexan wings. Tim, you did do a video, or you're thinking about doing a video on the Omni? Yeah, man. If you post it, that'd be great. Because I'm really interested. Mainly because I mean we all end up spending a lot of money on chips, and I mean that's okay, because it's great running my NSR cars and my slotted car on my track, and being able to change lanes and race those. But yeah, it would save some money for sure in the long run. So I think I've watched Jim Cunningham's. He has a pretty elaborate track, I believe. It's got a really kind of a cool pit lane that kind of goes under a bridge, if I remember right, if that's Jim. Is he the one who makes the Omnibox? I feel like, or is he just the one that Omnibox uses on their website to talk about the box? I thought maybe he had something to do with it. Garth, we've been changing the track so often that I haven't screwed it down. It does have some gaps that doesn't seem to bother the track. Just slight gaps. It's better than it was the last iteration, but I haven't made it like permanent, because we've still been kind of tweaking it. About once every month and a half or so, we add some track or add a couple pieces of something to take a chicane out, because we're all tired of going off the track in the same spot. So haven't screwed the track down. Career to Jim C in Texas. The the other thing about my layout that I need to figure out is I've just got some 2x4s and some scrap wood building my bridge, and I really need to change the way one of my elevated turns, because it does cause a sight line issue in one turn, which is why we extended the table, but I don't think that extending the table is going to help this other small turn. So I need to figure out exactly like the best way to make some pylons or some bridge structures that you could see underneath, from 20 feet away. You could see underneath that turn and see underneath the bridge turn. So you can see the other turn that's kind of underneath of it. So anybody has ideas? I have a buddy that has, my buddy Eli has a 3D printer. And so I've been looking at 3D printed versions of slot car bridges. There's a lot of slot car stuff out there. I forget the name of the website that has plans for 3D printed things, but pretty cool. So anybody else tackling anything major with their layout? I think that's kind of it for my layout for right now. Garth, you'd mentioned like talking about how you attach tables, maybe even guardrails. I'm using Carrera guardrails that came with my starter set, and then John Mark had some extra that he gave me that we put on the track. And then I did a lot of the handmade using the small binder clips, and those work great. They're starting to take a beating and not look so great. So I may have to do some repair work to some of them, but all in all, it's a very inexpensive way to add guardrails. Now I have looked at some other guardrails that like Boone has made, and some really intricate stuff, a lot of work, but it looks fantastic. And I think if I were going to build a diorama around my track and add a bunch of scenery, which Dave Kennedy posted that he was starting his mountain backdrop for his scene. He really likes scenery, and I feel like my track right now still feels like a club track, and that I haven't done any scenery yet. Although I really like what the place there in North Carolina that's doing the wood laser cut. It's not magnetic. That's the one from Australia. The other one, Race Scenics, I think. It's really, really cool stuff. Hey, Raul is in the house, man. What's going on? Hey, Raul and I had a great conversation the other night. It must have been last week, like maybe Wednesday or Thursday after I did the live stream last Tuesday, and really caught up. He did a live stream like he told us he would, and I caught the very end of it, and then I had to go back and rewatch it, talking about how he gets his footage and his whole studio layout. And man, if you like tech gear, go check out his live stream from last week. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. So Garth, do you do some 3D printing? I know there's a lot of guys that do 3D printed chassis. I've read a lot about that on some of the message boards. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of late tonight, so I didn't think I would end up with 25 or 26 like I had last week. But I did figure out how to bring somebody on, like as an interview. So I think that I have the ability to do that at some point. So yeah, I'm using Ecamm Live. So I found a coupon code that gave me 1 free month of the pro version, which is kind of handy because it's kind of expensive. It's like $40 a month. And I don't know if I'll do enough live streaming to afford $40 a month. So, 3D printing for guardrails. Yeah, I have looked at some guardrail. There's gosh, some of the channels I forget. I've watched so many YouTube videos over the last 9 months. One of the guys does a guardrail, a 3D printed guardrail, then light, like stadium light holder, all built into one. I really liked it, especially around the high bank turn on his track. It looks great, so I really like that. I guess I have access to YouTube, and I could throw it up on the screen. Yeah, so let me throw that up here. So Raul said he's got a laser cutter and has been dabbling. My nephew just bought a laser cutter, Jordan, and I've had him over at the track a couple of times. His boys love to come over and run cars on the track. We pull the speed down a little bit and let them go, and they love it. But he just bought a laser cutter, so I'm curious to know what he might be able to do. But man, yeah, the stuff that they're putting out, I love the ESO drip, the ESO, man. That's a great backdrop scenery. I've always been a fan of the golf signs and stuff like that. So I may add some stuff like that, but I probably won't go deep into scenery. Just not my thing yet, but it might be down the road. I have a friend of mine who does model building, and we here in Chillicothe, we have a miniatures store. It's called the History Store, and they do like the Civil War miniatures, and they do these they have supplies for all kinds of dioramas. So I've got a place here in town, like 2 blocks from my house, that I could get all the scenery that I needed pretty easily. He doesn't have any racing stuff, but trees and grass and all of those things for scenery. But he's offered to do a corner of the track for me, so that I would have like a nice backdrop for pictures for my YouTube channel. So I might take him up on that. That would be kind of cool. Marty's Rails Inc. Is that the I could start my own business, Marty's Rails Inc. But I like the ones that had the lights attached, that was using like the USB lights. I thought those looked pretty cool. Somebody asked if I was ever going to put lights on my track a few weeks ago, and if I was ever going to do night racing. I'm like, that would be pretty cool, I guess. Especially if you're doing like a simulated 24-hour race. Guardrails, something for Dusty to... You're right, Clint. I have no excuse but to do some scenery. I think I will eventually. Right now, the track keeps moving too much to get some scenery. I mean, a lot of guys just throw like the Carrera grandstands or Skeletrix grandstands, and like I think it would be cool to have like a big Dunlop tire and some of that kind of scenery. Yeah, I'm into that. But like the whole big like miniature world scenery, I don't know. I'm too into racing. That's just stuff I'll knock over when the slot car flies off the track. Yeah, Dusty, they'd be targets. That's right. So it gets pretty racy on this track. Maybe one night on the live stream I'll take the camera around, and although I do have a video out there of that, of my layout. And those are seems like the videos that get a lot of traffic are about layouts and or like the difference between Skeletrix and Carrera. If you go look for those videos, all of those videos have thousands and thousands and thousands of views. But I don't have any experience with Skeletrix, so I can't do a comparison video because I don't have it. I've been thinking about buying a little Polycar analog track starter set, so that I can at least compare it to Carrera and then maybe do that type of video. Yeah, that's how these were. They were USB. The USB lights looked like light poles, and they're pretty good. I don't know, Garth, did I see this on your channel? Is it here? Are you the one that has this? mean, I guess does everybody? Am I the only one that doesn't do scenery on their slot car track? Does everybody else do scenery? Clint, I'm guessing you do scenery on yours, which is cool. I have no problem with it. I think it looks amazing. Like, you watch Boone's channel. Oh my gosh. I mean, the detail. But see, some of those tracks, to me, look really difficult to drive. You've got so many tight turns and your Dunlop crossover bridge taking some big hits, but it's held up. Yeah, those Dunlop tires, man, they're tough. Tough tires. Yeah, I think those things look great, and that's the type of scenery I think initially I'll add. I will probably end up with one of those SO men. Drip is a cool character. Just reminds me of looking down the pitway at Le Mans and seeing him in the background. It's pretty cool. Yeah, soft foam, Dusty. So stuff bounces off of it. Yeah, Roll, I noticed on your test track, it's pretty much a track. Yeah, I mean, I think you could overdo it. Like Area 51, he's got a bunch of lights on his, and they all flash, and I think that's cool. He is moving. George is moving, and so he's got to take all that apart and rebuild it at his new house. Half the layout has scenery, kind of work in progress. Yeah, Clint. I mean, I think that most of them are. A long time ago, I wanted to get into model trains and build a big layout, and that would have been, full-on scenery. And I just never had a great place to do it. So I would just set up a little train set at Christmas time, or, keep it up for a few weeks until my wife got tired of vacuuming around it and told me to get it up off the floor. But now that I got some space, I could build some scenery. Hey, Mark. Thanks, man. So Mark says, check out Lunch King's videos for some impressive scenery. I think I've watched some of his videos. There's some really good scenery. There's some guys that are just amazing. There's one guy, and it's like his nephew's interviewing him, where he has this amazing layout that takes up his entire basement. Like, it's a gigantic layout, all scenery, and he designed his own digital track. And he was talking about how it's on alternating current, and so it alternates in milliseconds power between two cars on the same lane. So he's not using Carrera's digital or somebody else's digital. He designed his own. So obviously the guy's an engineer. It's pretty amazing. Is he Area 52 now? That's a good question. I thought maybe he might jump on tonight. Yeah, Garth, John Mark, who's in this, he has a train set up around his slot car track. So the slot car track's in the middle, and he's got a nice big loop train because his grandkids, they love both. So they enjoy the slot cars, and then he's got one grandson that is obsessed with trains. So, and he's kind of a train guy himself. We went to Roanoke, Virginia once, and he went to the train museum there. Let's see, what else did I have in the list of stuff to talk about? There was some, I'm trying to think, who was it? Duvall, maybe? Sent me an Instagram post. He was having problems with, he was adding jumpers. That's the one thing about growing your track is you've got to add jumpers every so many feet, or you start having drop-offs. I feel like right now our track is in good shape with the number of jumpers that we have. I don't feel like we've got a place on this layout that loses power anywhere. I don't know. Do you think so, Dust? Yeah, Tim, I've seen Anthony Ramsey's track. Yes, once you mention their names, their channels kind of come to mind. I remember that he has a lot of scenery. But jumpers. I mean, we didn't have a jumper for a while, and we kept expanding. And that last layout jump put us around 90 feet. And we started noticing when we got more than one or two cars on the track that there were places where the cars were just dogs. And especially in a race, when you'd get racy with somebody and there'd be two or three cars right next to each other, near each other on the track, on the layout. So the jumpers are pretty easy. The Carrera jumpers, that stuff's kind of expensive, but it's so easy. It's easy to attach. There's no soldering. Dusty and I cut one in half and soldered our own ends on and just used one big long cable, made two out of it, so we have an extra jumper, and that worked really well. So I think right now we got three spots for jumpers on about 105 feet of track, 106 feet of track, something like that. Hey, Duvall is in the house. Yeah, Dusty, I think we have. I'm looking across into the room. Maybe we only have two. No, we have the short one. We have three. We have one right across where the check lane, near the check lane, and then one on the far end. Yes, yeah, we have three. Okay, Garth. I'm familiar with Professor Motors. I've bought stuff from them. So what's Super Tracks? Now I'm curious. I will have to go out and figure out what that is. Professor Motors. Professor Motors. Super Track. Yeah, I'll have to do some research on that. Minimum one per long straight. Yeah, that's about right. That's a good rule of thumb because we've got three pretty good straights on this layout. Oh, it's the jumper track. Oh, okay. Yeah, I gotcha. I think I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, that's there's a group out there that are selling pre-made cables that are like kits that are much cheaper than the Carrera cables. I think they end up being about $9 per connector. Okay, Clint. I am still using the original 1/32 scale Carrera power supply. But I've been looking at buying a variable power supply. I'll be honest with you. Electricity makes me a little nervous. I've been shocked a couple times. And so I don't want to burn up a bunch of equipment. So my fear is that I'm not paying attention and bump it, and all of a sudden I'm sending a bunch of voltage through my cars and I burn up all of our chips. So, but I would like to do 1/24 scale racing. So I know I'm not going to buy the Carrera power supply for 1/24 scale. I will buy a variable power supply at that point. $17.95. Yeah, man, that's not bad. That's still cheaper than the Carrera cables. So, yeah, I like Professor Motor. I've bought quite a bit from them over the last few months. But yeah, Clint, that's what I'm using, the original. And for what we've been doing in this size layout, not had any problems. Once we put the jumper cables on, it really it fixed all of our problems. Usually the glitching is because I've messed up the braids on my car in some way, not because of the power. So that's what I've figured out. So I think last week I talked a little bit about Smart Race. Anybody else using Smart Race for their Carrera track, their Carrera Digital? Are there any other options out there? Because I'm always up for trying new things, but I'm already paying Smart Race, $2.95 a month for all the extra features that I don't really use, except for when everybody's over. We use the pit lane, the pit radio, which is a cool feature. If you're not using the pit radio feature in Smart Race, you're missing out. It is really cool. Wow, Garth. Yeah, I mean, imagine if you probably, your layout is gigantic. I definitely will have to check out the Professor Motor stuff because that looks like sounds like an easy way to add jumpers. Not complicated. Yeah, Tim, I think I've watched some of your videos. I know you use it because I can see. I think I can see your TV with it on it, or maybe it's your iPad in your videos because you have a nice overhead shot of your track. Are there things that you don't like about it? I think we love Smart Race, but it's really the only thing. I've tried the Carrera app, and they have not developed it at all. I think they're missing out. They probably could spend some time developing that or pay somebody to develop it and really make a great app out of it. But it's clunky. I don't like it. And I think Smart Race, he's continued to develop. It's really pretty good. Let's see here. Yeah, just a straight Carrera section with wires added. Yeah, I guess if you're adding that's a great point. So for that price, you already know that you're going to add some track to your layout, that you'll need jumpers. And if you're already buying some straights, why not buy a couple of those and save yourself the trouble if they're already pre-wired? I think that's a smart idea. So Lion Face, I would love to go 124 eventually. Just don't have the space for. So Lion Face, you're Scale Electrics. That's cool, man. Dusty, my brother Dusty is the only one that owns a Scale Electrics car in the group of friends that I have that run on my track, and that's the Motul Path, however you pronounce it, plaid livery car. It's sweet. So we haven't really tuned cars to run on the Carrera track that are Scale Electrics to see their performance, but I feel like they perform pretty close to how Carrera cars perform. So, I think it's just you decided to go with the other brand, and it's not a wrong decision. I think that you can probably squeeze more track in a smaller layout with Scale Electrics with the way their radius turns work and their lane width. But yeah, probably can't run 1/24th scale on that track. When your kids leave, I just finished reading your statement. When your kids leave home and you can hear it in a room. Well, my kids are not home anymore. They're grown and they're out. They'll be home for Thanksgiving, and we'll have probably race night every night. I'm looking forward to that. So Dusty and John Mark, you have to plan for that. But yeah, that's why I can just take over the entire basement and have my podcast studio and my racetrack. My wife never comes down here, so she probably doesn't even know any of this exists down here in the basement. Yeah, okay, that's right. You do, Tim. You do the iPad picture-in-picture in your videos. That's a nice touch. Good job. It's fun to see who's winning, what kind of lap times tracks have. I'm fascinated with stats. I love stats. I love numbers. I work at a bank, so it's inherent in me. I love to look at numbers. So that's the one thing that the Smart Race app does and especially adding the check lanes, it gives me all kinds of stats to look at, and it's just fun to. Yeah, roll the Carson chip does well. Yeah, Dusty put a Carson chip in his Porsche, and I think it rubs the front axle a little bit. I think that's a problem with that car, that specific model. So yeah, so we've all discovered that we are big fans of the slot invasion guides. Slot invasion guides really perform well on the track, and it's just such an easy upgrade for just a couple bucks. Slap a slot invasion guide on it, and you pick up performance. You immediately see that the cars don't come out of the slot as easy. They do a nice job. Oscar, I think, is his name. He was on one of my other live streams a few months ago, and he was like, "What guide do you use?" And I'm like, "Oh, we're big fans of Slot Invasion." He's like, "Oh, great." I'm like, "I take it you are the person who owns Slot Invasion." Yeah, Tim, the man cave. It feels like an actual cave. This house was built in 1897. It's an old Victorian home in downtown Chillicothe. I live about a block from the courthouse, and it's cool. It's perfect for a big slot car layout. It's just I always have to explain, hey, we're going into a basement that looks sort of like a dungeon, but don't worry. Yeah, man, Smart Race is fun. It really just adds a great experience to the track. I think everybody that's come over to visit, that's the thing that is the wow factor. They walk in and go, wow, what a big track. That's awesome. Always wanted to do that as a kid. And then the second thing, when I fire up Smart Race, they're like, oh, how cool is that? It announces your races. It gives me my lap times. I know what place I'm in. Yeah, good stuff. Garth, if I could figure it out, I would love to open this track up to the public. But my wife would shoot me with lots of people traipsing through our house. So have to be honest with you. I've been looking for places that I could rent really cheap and open up, and even move my layout to another location, and do kind of like a key card access for people. So you jump in the club, pay a few bucks a month, you get a key, and you can go in and race anytime you want, and then host race nights, and then maybe have a little slot car selection. So when people show up for the first time, they don't own a car, borrow a car, have fun racing it, and then maybe buy their own before they leave. I've really thought a lot about that little bit of a side hustle there. I really don't have time to do that, but I think that would be really cool. Two lines in the chill. Yeah, Roll, I think I watched that video. Your Bentley GT3. Well, I think, Garth, jumping into the hobby, I got excited about it really quick. I went from zero knowledge to a bunch of knowledge about the hobby kind of overnight, because that's just the type of person I am. I research the heck out of things, to the point where it takes me forever to make a decision to buy something. It's like I researched the track, the different brands, what my options were, analog, digital, for probably 3 or 4 months before I bought the starter set. But when I started posting pictures and videos of the track, I had a bunch of people in my community reach out and say, hey, how do I get to come play on that track? Always wanted to have my own big slot car track in my basement, or, people like lots of guys that I went to school with, or I go to church with, or I just know through, different organizations. I had all kinds of people reaching out to me, say, hey man, how can I get the invite to your track? And I'm like, my invite is always just, well, we race on Sunday afternoons most of the time. We try to, a couple times a month, like just come over. But, what happens when I have 20 guys show up in my basement, and my wife, I don't know if she would go for that. Right now it is friends and family. Yeah. So everybody that comes and races right now are friends and family. Hey, Thomas Sanders, welcome. Thanks for joining. Let's see, what did he say? Does anyone have any suggestions regarding aftermarket rubber replacement front tires for Carrera 132nd scale cars? That's a great question, Thomas. Man, my go-to is always to Slot Car Corner when it comes to things like that. They have parts and parts and parts and parts. LEB, Professor Motor, what's the one in Wisconsin? CarreraSlots.com. All of those should have replacement tires. If you look at Quick Slicks, there's tire charts, but you're looking for front tires, which might be a little more difficult. You might have to measure those with like a micrometer and find out exactly what their size is, the size of the rim that they're on, and you might have to go that route. I would say the easiest thing is to call the guys at Slot Car Corner and tell them what car you have, and they probably can figure out what type of tire goes on that. Hopefully that helps, Thomas. Hopefully that answers your question. A lot of times, most of the guys put, like, I know, like for NSR and Slot It, you can get the zero grip front tires. So I'm sure you would not have any problems getting parts or tires for Carrera cars. Maybe I'm wrong. Anybody have anything else to add to that? 20 is too much. Keep it cool. Yeah, we've never had 20 people. I think the most we've had, I think we were racing 5, and I was like controlling the race with the app and kind of managing that, and while 5 other guys raced at once. And the track was busy, but it was a lot of fun. But I think that's kind of in the max. Carrera slots, yeah, thanks, Dust. That's what it was. Conquest, Raul says Paul Gage tires or Quick Slicks. So here's the thing. Who sells a tire truer? I think the one that everybody talks about, that company doesn't make them anymore. And so I saw plans to 3D print one, but I think finding a tire truer is not easy. Maybe I'm missing something. So, but I know you can true silicone tires, but we just kind of buy them, open the package, and clean them and run them. But the Paul Gage tires definitely need trued. Out of the package, they're not quite track ready yet. But once you get them trued, they're great. Okay, Raul. I did this on my 917, my Carrera Porsche 917. And it made that car so loud, the nail polish did. It made those front tires hard as a rock, and it made them really loud because you really can't adjust without doing some major work the ride height on the front of a Carrera car. And so those things just made a lot of noise. So I actually removed all of the nail polish off of the front tires so that it would quiet the car down. I mean, to the point where it was obnoxious how loud it was going around the track. And I've seen people do super glue. I have a feeling that it probably does the same thing. So I don't know. It seems to me that I think the nail polish is easy and simple, but I feel like it on the plastic track, it just made my cars really loud. Yeah, Dusty used CA glue, and that seemed to be a little quieter than the nail polish. Yep, 5 is the limit. Yep, no problem, Thomas. Happy to help. That's why I started my channel, is to share knowledge that I was gaining daily about slot cars, and I still don't know very much. I mean, one of the videos I posted, well, it was from the live stream. Sunday Slots corrected me and said, "Hey, I think you're wrong about the just swapping out the analog power station track piece for the digital computer and the analog, just swapping those out and you'd be good to go." And he posted a comment, so go back and read that if that was one of the things you were interested in. Just, how do you swap that? I think going with the tech slots or the Omnibox way is probably, it's the expensive way, but it's the best way and the safest way. Okay, so your shot at finding, if you don't build your own tire truer, you might be able to find one on eBay when somebody decides that they don't use it very much. I mean, Dave Kennedy mentioned in his live stream on Saturday that he barely uses his tire truer anymore. But he's not racing. He's maintaining his channel and does all of his racing on that polycar track. And that polycar track is so grippy that he doesn't have to do a whole lot of work on the tires. So that's it, Tim, is true the tires down so that they're not touching. I guess that was the only way you could really adjust the front end of a Carrera car is by truing those tires and getting that front end to drop down a little bit. So then if the tire's not constantly rubbing the track, then it would make less noise. Makes perfect sense. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think you're probably right. Rule is truing those front tires is probably the right move. Yeah, Tim. Hey, Sunday Slots. I was just talking about your comment helping me out understand the analog digital thing. I really appreciate that comment. Thank you very much. And I enjoy your channel too. Thanks. The unboxing the other day was a lot of fun. I think your wife thought I was a little goofy, but you guys were pulling cars out that I was enjoying. So. Yeah, just message Paul Gage about what would fit the front. Yep, good resource. Yeah, I watch a lot of Harry Wise's videos. Obviously, he is a master tuner. Very, very good at tuning a car. He and Jim Rose both, and then Jacques, forget his last name, the guy that won the USA Nationals. Those guys are obviously all really good at tuning cars. Yeah, I'll eventually end up getting a tire truer. Yeah, Thomas, it's just, you can do it by hand, but it does get hard to keep them true. Like they'll develop flat spots, and I think the first time I tried, I pulled the axle off and put it in a drill and tried to true them that way, and it worked okay, but a real truer really. Garth, I think they used to have a tire truer, but it shows out of stock every time I go and search, because I've been looking for one. when you jump in the sport, you think you've got to have everything all at once, or in the hobby. So about 2 months in, I was like, I need a tire truer. And so I was trying to search and find a tire truer. With power pickup. Oh, was that a link? Thanks, Raul. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, the Huddy tire truer is the standard, and it's what everybody talks about, but good luck finding one. Maybe I just don't watch eBay enough. Raul, you would know. You've bought a bunch of cars off of eBay. Yeah, Tim, I definitely, Harry is a legend, as Travis would say. Definitely in tuning cars. He is very, very good at it. Really understands what works. I really enjoy his NSR tuning. He's done some videos on tuning the 908, the Porsche 908. Yeah, Tom, that's kind of what I was planning to do, is kind of build my own. Yeah, this is great. Take a piece of track and try to make my own. Yeah, Rick Jacquemin. Thank you, Garth. Yeah. He was fast. He was pretty intense, too. When he went off the track at one time, he screamed at the marshal. Yeah, that was awesome. I really enjoyed watching that live stream. 268 cars. Wow. That's amazing. And that's all within the last couple of years, right? I mean, you haven't been back in it for a while, right? That's a big collection. Tim, my 908 is my fastest car. I absolutely love it. I have the red number 31 livery, and I'm waiting for the new new Golf livery with the one arrow on the driver's side. I love that livery. That's a great livery. Let's see. Tom says he has a Dremel some of the plating off the contacts on my track and used a lot of heat to solder wire to it. You're talking about adding jumpers. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't like to take solder very well. In the last year and a half, that's a bunch of cars, Raul. Wow. I have 12 cars. Yeah, that's great. You have the blue, the NSR. Yeah, that's sweet. Is that the Sunoco? That's a cool livery. Yeah, my plan is to get all of them. It's my favorite car. I absolutely love it. Thomas says that he'd be happy to share a short clip of his homemade truing contraption. That'd be great for some of us who can't find a truer. That'd be fantastic. Thanks, man. We appreciate that. Your fastest Carrera is the Porsche 911 RSR. Is that the Pink Pig? Because I would say that is correct. That the Pink Pig is the fastest Carrera car on our track as well. It's a little bit faster than my 917. My brother has that. The 911 RSR. Man, I'm just admitting my brother is like kicking my butt on the track. Is what all of his cars are faster than mine. Tom, your fastest is the Mosler. So John Mark, who's in the chat, he has a Mosler. Just got it. We haven't got it tuned quite right yet. The first thing he needs to do is order a slot invasion guide for it, because the guide is what's causing him. Yeah, Dusty, the F1, the Carrera F1 is the fastest car on our track right now. Sunday slot car, your fastest 132nd is a black Lambo with their defective chip. Okay, so the defective chip, does that make the car faster? Does it not limit the voltage or something like that? I'm guessing the good plan, Tim, is to own all of the NSR 908s. One day. That's my plan, yes. Roll the Project 1. Is that your fastest 124th? Is the Porsche TV car? Sunday slots, do you race a lot of 124th? Because I noticed that your haul, the boxes you went through, those first like 5 or 6 cars you pulled out, they were all 124 scale. And don't forget, he has a store you can buy from. But you're in Canada, though, right? So it'd be easy for the Canadian people to buy from you. Do you ship to the United States? Okay, Gerardo. I want a Thunder slot. I love the blue and yellow striped Lola. It's fantastic. It's a beautiful, beautiful car. And then their special edition, the red livery. I don't remember who the driver is on that. Yeah, Thunder slot. Now that the guy that owns Thunder slots came from NSR, right? Because I feel like chassis design, car design is very, very similar. But I definitely would like a Thunder slot car. They're fast, very fast. I was going to ask you something else here, Gerardo. Thanks for jumping. Thanks for joining. It's good to have you. If anyone needs an NSR white first release, you can get one. The first the 908-3. That's cool. Yeah, nice. I see it. Sorry. I see you responded. 908. So you only collect 132nd. I think it would be fun. What's the name of the channel that all of his videos are of his club racing? First Capital, maybe? I feel like maybe they're in Maryland. Maryland or New Jersey. Like off the top of my head, I can't remember. They do a lot of 124 scale racing, and it's all Carrera. Yeah, your camera cars are really cool, Raul. That's a great. Sorry. So many questions. If Americanos missed their chance. All right. Well, hey, I check out your store all the time because there are a couple cars that I'm looking for. Some older Carrera cars that I can find on Electric Dreams for like second mortgage on my house. So I keep an eye out for them, but I peruse your inventory quite frequently. So thanks. You guys are doing a great job. I have an appreciation that your wife appreciates slot cars. And I love the Mario Kart track that you did. That was a fun video. I have the red Lola Thunder slot. Tim, how do you like that? That's a beautiful car. They did a really nice job on the livery. I mean, at least the pictures look good. I've not seen it in person, but I'm guessing that the finish quality is pretty good on the Thunder slots. But see, they do a lot of old Can-Am cars. Like they have the Mario Andretti Lola that I like, right? Is it Lola? That I really like. I want one of those. I'm just about to go to the local slot car track. Tom. So here's the thing, Tom. If you're familiar with NSR, you know like it's a racy car. I mean, all of their cars. The chassis is very tunable. They all have motor pods. Honestly, it was really easy to chip on my Carrera. So I was surprised that I had plenty of room underneath the body of the 908 to put a chip. It was really easy. It's the fastest car on my track. It's got a short wheelbase. It handles turns really well. It's a smaller car, which I think is why it performs so well. Now, I think that the Mosler is like rumored to be NSR's fastest car. And I think it's because it's wider. But if you watch the slotted, everybody's kind of gravitating towards the Jaguar. So like all of the cars in the final of the USA Nationals was that Jaguar from slotted. So if you're looking for a fast car, you will not go wrong with the NSR, the 908. It's a great, great looking car. Tim says, yes, Tom. So there you go. There you have it. You race your Thunder Slot no mag? Yeah, Dusty, it is a fast little car, just not as fast as your Carrera F1. It's Ferrari. Yeah, those are fun cars. I think that, that we are at a time, and I'm just, I'm a beginner in this, but we are at a great time for slot cars. I think the quality is fantastic. I mean, I had a few people have said, hey, I'll give you my old slot cars from the 60s. And I'm looking at the cars from these cars from the 60s, and they're super cool. They're great, but they don't perform like the cars of today. I mean, technology has advanced in slot cars. They perform really, really well. There's some companies building some great cars, doing a great job with the bodies, and they're race cars. They're made to race. Even though we buy them and spin them around, my home track and have a blast with them, but they really are made to race. And then I feel like Carrera's cars, they're made to race too. The one thing about them is they will take a beating compared to my NSR. My brother has broken about everything off the back of my NSR from running over me that you can possibly break off that thing. and I just feel like it's way more fragile than the Carrera and the Scale Electrics cars. But we have so many great choices right now. I mean, I just feel like it's a great time to be in the hobby. Tom, okay. Time to make an impulse buy. Tom, report back. Let us know what you end up with. Send us a picture or something. So this right here, that's what I've been wondering. I kind of had a feeling, as fast as Dusty's Carrera F1 is, I had a feeling that nothing's probably going to touch the NSR F1 on this track. That's why I ordered one. Not really, Dusty. I'm joking. So you have a chip within a certain period that can be faster. I hear they're harder to control, but I've never had an issue. Okay, that's interesting. So they had a defective chip that actually made the cars a little faster. So it's just something how they process the power from the controller to the track. Yeah, that's amazing. See, those are the things I don't know. I don't know yet. I haven't researched that stuff yet. Tom, be safe, man. Go get that NSR. Yeah, Clint. You have 2 grandsons. So when my kids, I have 2 college-age kids, and they came home back in March. Their grandpa passed away. My father-in-law passed away. And they were home for 3 or 4 days. And the first night, my wife went off to bed. It was late. It was probably like midnight. And they both looked at me, and as soon as Mom went to bed, they were like, can we go race? We're dying to get on this track. And so we went downstairs, and it was probably 2 in the morning. We finally finished up. And so they beat the crap out of those cars. And the Carrera cars just took it. My brother had to epoxy the body on his GT for GT. It looks awful, but that thing is so stinking fast. So they take a beating, but they're very durable, and that's what makes them fun. That was to my I ordered the F1. Yeah, that might be the only way I get the track record back though. Dude, 3.25 seconds on my DDT. Really, that's quick around that track, Raul. That is really quick. So, Tim, I'm glad that I'm in good company. Yeah, my 908, all the plastic parts off the back have been destroyed. They're gone. I'm thinking about buying another one just to put back because I love the livery and I think it looks awesome, and to have one to race and one to just look at. But then I would eventually open it up, and I'm not good at like keeping things shiny and nice. Only 300's faster. Gerardo has been in the 132nd slot game since you were 7, and you're 45 now. Wow. See, I was an HO, and I really only had my uncle let me borrow a set when I was really little. That was probably an AFX slot car track. And then I got a TCR, Total Control Racing, which was slotless. You could do passing and things. And my brother and I, we wore that thing out. I just need to speed up so you don't hit me. Yeah, that's probably true. This is a safe space, Gerardo. It's a safe space, man. You're in good company. Tim, don't encourage him. Don't encourage him. So the SCX, yeah. So you've been an SCX fan. It's kind of hard to get SCX stuff here in the States, so I haven't really bumped into any place. I think there's a place over in Dayton, Ohio, that carries SCX, but I think Dave talks about the distribution's kind of been messed up for them here in the States. So SCX is a little tougher. But the rally cars, that's what I was wanting to ask you. So the rally cars, do they really perform well? I have a buddy of mine who here locally in where I live every year does the Southern Ohio Forest Rally. And for the last 3 years, Ken Block and Travis Pastrana have come and raced for that rally. And Jeremiah, my buddy Jeremiah, he's the one who puts this whole thing together, and he wants to come over to the track. And I've been looking for like the Ken Block SCX rally car, slot car, and get it chipped for him. So when he shows up, I have this car for him. But if they don't perform well, I'm not sure that I want to do that. So it'd be good to know that they do work if they are good performing cars. So it sounds like they are. That's good. So Lion Face had an AFX Vertigo set. Nice. So you've only gotten back in the past month. Well, welcome back. Slot cars missed you. Pro Tinker does. Pro Tinker is not that far from me. I think he's in Cleveland. So, I mean, he's like 3.5 hours, 4 hours away from me. I've watched some of his channel. He does a lot of live streams where he and his buddies just race there in the shop. It's pretty cool. You're looking at HO. Yeah, Travis just built a big AFX track in his garage. It's pretty cool. Man, they're fast. It's, I don't know what the non-mag guys say about HO. I'm not sure you could do that without magnets, but I really like the 1/43rd scale, the Carrera Go scale. SCX has some great 1/43rd scale cars. I think all the rally cars you can get in that scale. And my nephews love playing on my track, and so I'm thinking about for Christmas picking them up a starter set with an expansion set of track in the 1/43rd scale, so that they don't have to have a gigantic place to put a layout. So yeah, Clint, yeah, in Ohio. You have a bunch of SCX rally cars from 2008. Yeah, there's I've seen them online. The SCX, the Ken Block livery from a couple years ago, and it was like the Cosworth, I think, that he drove. He drove here at the Forest Rally, so the first time I got to watch him race. So this past year, and it happens in June, he raced and his daughter raced her own car. She's like 14 or 15 years old. If you watch his Instagram channel, they're redoing an Audi Quattro for her first daily driver, which is pretty cool. I don't think you can call it. Yeah, they do run good. You need to work on them a little. SCX Advance is their digital. I don't have Career Digital, so I'm not sure if I can. Yeah, I thought about ordering one and putting a chip in it and see if I can get it to work. So it wouldn't hurt. Yeah, I don't think you can call Travis's shed a shed. It's more like a house. It's gigantic. Now, he was planning to move and tore all of his track stuff down. And then I noticed in a video about a month ago, he was building the track back. And I was like, hey, did you decide not to move? And he said, yeah. So he's not moving. I was kind of hoping he'd jump on tonight or today. Because he kept sending me messages wanting me to add him to the call. So Carrera Go is great and affordable. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, we have a Hobby Lobby here in town, and they have like a starter set for $65 or something, and then $45 for an extension pack that adds like another 15 feet to the track. So I think it's great. That's cool. So Gerardo, is your track that you're prepping these cars for, is it a rally track? Because they do some of those hill climb rally tracks. That's cool. So funny that you mentioned SEMA. I'm headed out to SEMA. John Mark and I are going out. It's not this week. It's the 30th. It's like November 1st, 2nd, 3rd. So we're headed out on next Monday, and we're going to check out SEMA. So I'll probably post some footage from SEMA. Doesn't have anything to do with slot cars, but yeah, I saw that they had new Formula One cars, and it's the new Formula One cars, like the current like style of Formula One for Carrera Go. That's pretty good. Well, guys, we've been at this. Oh, did I not tell you, Dusty? John Mark and I haven't talked about it. All the times we've been slot car racing, I have not mentioned it. Yeah, so it's a long story. We'll catch up. I'll fill you in. John Mark is the man. He's making it all happen. So it's really pretty good. John Mark busted. That's fantastic. Well, guys, we've been on. We've been on a little over an hour. Some great conversation. So I think we'll wrap it up. So we can do this again, Tim. Yeah, we've got a lot of explaining to do. So guys, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Great conversation. I'm going to try to be consistent with this. You know, I know Dave does his on Sunday afternoons. I need something to do on Tuesday nights, I guess. I'll try to start it a little earlier. I'll put a post out so that everybody knows that it's going to happen. and kind of do a pre-scheduled so that you'll see and get notifications in plenty of time. But man, great stuff. I really appreciate you guys jumping in. I really appreciate all the feedback. Again, yeah, man, maybe I'm getting ready to sign off. I should have brought somebody in on that. Maybe we'll do that next time. Next time, maybe roll or Sunday slots, or we'll bring one of you guys in that has a lot of. Maybe we could see your collection. So, but no, it's been great, guys. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, Gerardo, you too, man. Have a great night. We'll see everybody next week. Signing off now.